that long. I'm early to a live, which feels pretty sweet. I'm early to this live. Um, Lately, I've noticed I've been showing up a little late, and I wanted to surprise myself. I'm a whole 10 minutes early, which, for whoever is here, which right now is nobody, is um, probably not that big of a deal. I've really been enjoying making TikToks recently. I sort of have found a new flow. I feel like I'm in a good place with the people that I follow because the people that I follow are kind of like inspiring me to um, make content. Not necessarily like they're social media coaches, but just with some of the things they talk about. Um, my buddy Michael Ridge, who's just a wild man. Um, my buddy, who I don't actually physically know, I don't even actually know his name, but he talks a lot about public speaking and the energies behind it, which was the inspiration behind my introvert extrovert video. Um, let's see what else do we have going on there. Steven, what's up, man? I was like, dude, I'm early. No one's gonna be here, but here you are, my friend. Cheers to you. Um, just talking about how like I'm really inspired by the people that I follow on social media, which is really funny because I think about the people that I used to follow even just like 3, 4 years ago, like mostly just like hot spiritual women and my friends. And God, it's so different now. It's so different now. I'm actually seeking out people that know more than me. And this, I think, is a really big shift and kind of something that I wanted to talk about because we are in a transit that has to do with not necessarily superiority, right? It's gate 45, and we're in the fifth. I think we're in the fifth line of it. Um, Leadership. Yeah, leadership. 45. Gate 45. Point 5. That's the gatherer or gathering together. Leadership. We have the intuitive intellect and gift for innovation that enhances the group effort and ensures continuity through respect of the center. The gift expressing leadership of the material plane. A sense of right action that assumes respect that may not as yet have been earned. The drive for leadership that may not have yet earned the right. The respect for the center part of that was really interesting because in the archive, some of the things that we do are we're using controversial forces like a push and a pull to create a sense of center, and the idea that the hand will have more importance than the shoulder that connects it to the rest of the body, like that's where it draws power from. That's kind of what I was getting. And it's funny actually because in one of the games I play, there are literally just like enemies that are just walking hands. At some point, I wonder if they were connected to a living being, like if they had an elbow and a shoulder, or anyway, if the hand is not connected to the body by way of the shoulder, it's not able to draw resources from the core. That is ultimately a recipe for disaster. So anyway, let's go live, huh? Let's go live everywhere else. I mean, and yes, cheers, man of the law. Grab your tea, grab your things. Let's drop in. I'm it's in my standing mode right now, and so when I'm standing, one of the things I like to do, and Steven, you know this, is I like to take my plyo ball and I like to just put it up in between my groin. And so it gives me a sense of center because I will have a tendency to like lean on one foot or lean on the other. And when I have a plyo ball that I'm able to bite, like if you could imagine these are your legs and you put something in here and you just bite onto it, it helps give you a sense of center. And plyo balls are really inexpensive. They're like $8 for a pair of two. They're like 2 pound balls. They look like this. They're a little squishy. They got sand inside them. Mine is kind of dirty, but I just take it and I put it in between my legs like I'm straddling it. And I'm just having it's not a super hard bite, but there is a bite happening in there that's giving me a sense of center, because again, like I said, I tend to lean towards one side or the other, usually my right. I usually will lean on my right foot. And so with this, it kind of is another factor that's not normally there that gives me enough of a contrast to maintain a sense of center, because no matter where you're at, And center is not necessarily always the most appropriate place to move from. But if you don't have a sense of center, if you don't know what you're doing, where the energy is flowing back up to, where you resource energy from, you don't have a center, you don't have a source. And if you don't have a source, that's none of my business. But if you are in the live, let me know where you're chiming in from. Thank you for the hearts on the screen. I appreciate that, guys. I recognize that I sometimes suck at getting likes, getting these numbers up, and that directly relates to how many people see this. And so, in terms of moderators, or if anyone wants to remind me or other people to tell people to just like the live, like I'm pretty smooth with it. But all those likes are super helpful. Um, Again, the message here is quite simple. It's that your body is the most advanced piece of technology, and all of these technologies that are coming out are distracting us and pulling us away from the most important thing, which is to be in the body. A lot of the spiritual yes, we will talk about manifestors. A lot of the spiritual community, even in human design, are actually pulling people out of their bodies. And so we're doing our best to create a wave of descenders, of people that are descending into their physical bodies. And these are the people that are ultimately going to be able to commune with nature, inhabit the world, and live out the 5D plan. So let's talk about manifestors. For those of you who don't already follow human design hypnotherapy, her name is Tressa. She's a good friend. She is one of the funniest manifestors ever because she is, and as a woman manifester too, there is a sort of, I don't know, maybe you call it a dichotomy. Because initiating is typically the masculine aspect. The man or the masculine energy initiates, the feminine energy response. And so to have women manifestors is something that I find is one of the most beautiful things, because the ability to initiate gracefully versus the concept of purely masculine initiation, I think, is something that is very important for all of us to start to recognize. You just tuned in. You said manifestors will live out the 5D. I was saying that those of us that are descending into our bodies are going to be living out the 5D. And manifestors are what you would sort of say like the retired kings and queens of the old days. We used to need monarchies and like one leader, one manifestor, or like a body to be the thing to initiate. But now that we sort of have like projectors and the internet, and really what we're able to do with the internet and why it's so beautiful is that for those people that can actually recognize when they're in a configuration that we call a penta in human design, for those people that are able to recognize when they're in a correct penta, that kind of thing is going to be the new form of authority. And you kind of already see it nowadays. You see it a lot with music and bands, like groups. Bands are usually groups of 3 to 5 people. That's a penta. If it's functional, not necessarily say the only functional pentas do well, but if you were to look at some of the most famous bands, I guarantee you'd find like a lot of functional pentas. Just found out I'm a projector, so I'll be doing my homework. Projectors are actually sort of who the manifestors are handing off the baton to, because projectors have this ability to recognize dysfunction and functionality in other people that they can't recognize in themselves. And so this is where it's very important to have, if you're a projector, you don't need a lot of people, but you do need someone around you that is like really based. And if you don't have anyone, you can use me. Like I'm one of these people that is constantly going to be checking in with you. Not necessarily they're going to be asking you about it, but they're just going to hold a standard of like, hey, did you do your eye exercises today? Don't come complaining to me that so and so is taking your energy, because you're the one that's giving the energy to them. Projectors typically are here to be guides, but they have to be invited and they have to be recognized. And a lot of the human design community will stop there, but I go a step further and say, look, if you're invited and recognized, that's still not enough. As a projector, you have to be able to somatically feel your point of authority, whether it's your solar plexus, which is the celiac ganglia, it's the digastrix and the pelvic floor, it's this, your spleen, which is your immune system, your G center, which is your blood and your like. You have to have a connection with one of the organs in your body that is your point of authority, and that organ will let you know whether or not the invitation and the recognition is quote unquote good enough for you. One of the most important things for everybody to learn how to do is feel safe saying no. Feel safe standing up for yourself and being like, look, I see that you really want me to do that. I don't have energy to do that, or I don't have a desire to do that, or I think that's a great idea, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to engage with you. Because this is where authenticity starts to come online. But the one thing they don't tell you about being authentic is that you're going to have to disappoint people. And you're going to have to disappoint people that are in your life that are expecting things from you. And but if you never learn how to disappoint someone else, then you are always going to be disappointed because you'll be a people pleaser. And there's nothing wrong with pleasing people, but if you're doing it out of expectation, you're lying. So the difference between generators and or manifestors and manifesting generators is the defined sacral. So in human design, we have being. Wow, that's a tiny body graph. I need to get like a good chart up in here, huh? I just have this book. This is a great book, by the way, for anyone wanting to learn human design. That center right there is called the sacral. The sacral center is the difference. If that center is defined, what you have is a manifesting generator as opposed to just a manifester. And what this means is that the manifesting channel is not necessarily at the whim of other people's creative energy, meaning that the manifesting generator will have the ability to sort of sift through, sit back, wait, and respond, whereas the manifester, there's not a consistent response that you can rely on as a manifester. It's inconsistent. Some days you wake up with a lot of energy, some days you wake up with very little energy. Manifesting generators will have that to a degree, but generally their energy is usually a lot more consistent. That being said, they usually are like the jugglers. They like multitasking. They like being stimulated. Their circuitry likes to be involved in spinning a bunch of different plates, whereas the generator is more one thing, and the manifester again is the point of initiation. Go here, do that. Great. If the manifester gets caught up acting like a manifesting generator when they say go there, do that, and the people say, oh, I don't want to do it, and instead of going to initiate other people to do the thing, they themselves end up having to do the thing. Non-sacral beings do not work well when they're alone. Manifestors, manifesting generator, or sorry, manifestors, reflectors, and projectors, like you're not going to manifest much on your own. It's really helpful to have other people around, which again, it doesn't mean that you have to have them around, but if you want to create any kind of momentum, again, what you're looking for is to establish a group between 3 to 5 that is like functional. I heard Raw say once you should date slash marry your own type. Yeah, Ross said a lot of stuff. I don't necessarily think he's wrong, but I don't necessarily think he's 100% right. Like there were a lot of things that Ross said that again, they were his interpretations of the system that the voice gave him. And if you look at any of the other systems, everyone has their own interpretations, but what the voice talked to Ra about primarily was the crystals of consciousness, the physical architecture of the body graph, the concept of manifesting channels, energy centers being connected to the throat, having consistent access to manifesting channels. Like the voice didn't really actually say anything about types. And so, not that types are wrong, but types are a synthesis of what Ra brought forward so that it could be more widely accessible. And yeah, no, I don't think you should. I don't think you should constrain yourself to trying to find someone who's like you. I don't think relationships are necessarily uh, better if you are with somebody that's the same type. I think that's a really important thing to do. Like if you are single or in a relationship with someone who's the opposite of you, like if you're a generator dating a projector, I think it'd be great for you to experience dating a generator just so you can kind of see what it's like. Um, but anyway, it's like the whole concept around again listening to what other people have to say about human design, even the things that I have to say. I'm an external authority, guys. I speak from a place of internal authority, like I've seen this and witnessed this. I'm an external authority for you. If something in your body, like your throat closes up or your spleen closes up or something happens in you, right, it use that as information. Doesn't mean I'm wrong, doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means that there's something that's not like perfectly gelling. Use the resonance of your own organs to filter everything. Because again, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person's wrong, but they might not be 100% right. So anyway, yeah, it's again, it's a cool take, but it's again, it's Ra's take, who has a lot of authority in my opinion and in my world. Um, but he's not necessarily He's not necessarily the authority in human design. The voice is the authority. And what the voice told us was that we all have our own inner authority. And so the more that I've established a connect, and I'm a reflector, so I don't necessarily have a consistent inner authority. I have to check in with my spleen and my adrenals and all of the different organs that I have. And that's something that I can do, again, somatically. So can reflectors sense dynamics between people and pinpoint them in a way other HD types can't? 100%. Especially someone like me who's trained in the like true descending way, which is not necessarily to say that analysts and other human design coaches and professionals can't, but I'm like on top of knowing human design, I'm a martial artist, I'm an athlete. Like I have a physical level of embodiment that a lot of human design coaches don't. And so for me being able to pinpoint these dynamics is it's not so much about my knowledge of human design, but my awareness that can extend outside of my body because of the martial arts training I have, because of the connection that I have with my organs and my body and the energy. I feel like he would agree with that. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times Ra also just found himself in an echo chamber and just put things out there in states of being pissed off or in states of being like, man, why don't these people think for themselves? And he's like, whatever, I'll just let them sift through it. They're going to figure it out eventually. Like, I genuinely think Ra was not necessarily intentionally effing with us, but again, human being at the end of his ropes, people ask him for a question, should this happen, this? He's like, yeah, you should date your own type. Because again, it's not about just giving people all the answers. Like life is a game of survival of the fittest, survival of the most adaptable. Someone also asked if manifestors should get everybody's approval. Definitely not. And I would say if you're a manifester, like you're the only type that really has to deal with rejection. All the other types can just, they're the ones rejecting, waiting for an invitation. Nope, reject the invitation. Waiting for a response. My response is rejecting that. Manifestors, one of the greatest skills for a manifester is like learning how to deal with rejection. And I would even say, as a manifester, it would be a great idea for you to go get one of those Greenpeace jobs or get one of those jobs where you stand outside a grocery store and just ask people for signatures. Get some rejection therapy in because it'll help with your initiating. It will help with you being okay with being rejected. Go get one of those Greenpeace jobs. Stand outside a, you don't even have to get a job, just stand outside a grocery store and pretend to like collect signatures for some kind of ballot. Like, get used to rejection. It will make you so much a better manifester. Any advice for negative thoughts or dwelling on the past? Yeah, you got to work on your nervous system, sis. Like, if your mind is dwelling in the past, especially if it was over 18 months ago, you're not going to solve the problem at the same level that the problem was created. And that's what the repetitive thinking is showing, that you're at the same level. You're at the same level that you were at um, when you created it. And so what you have to do is upgrade your nervous system. So some of the things that are really helpful, especially for overthinking, is getting the neck to widen. You can just take your hands, push them into your neck, swallow, and you'll feel your neck widen. So then the idea would be to swallow and then keep your neck wide. And while your neck is wide, smell, swallow, and then blow a cool stream of air. Do that so you don't smell, swallow. Eventually you don't need your fingers, but the fingers are helpful. And then you start to feel around your neck, feel where the soft spots are. There's a lot of soft spots on the back of the neck, and see if you can't saturate and fill those areas up with blood. The reason we do this and the reason we're swallowing is because you just look at the physics of it. If you got a lot of thoughts going on up here, this is a very inefficient oven. This is like where you go shopping is not actually the oven. You have to take the things into the oven, which is your body. There's so much more heat and pressure in here. And so you have to learn how to swallow your thoughts, literally swallow your thoughts, bring it down the vagus nerve and cook it with your body. Give me the ultimate advice for being successful as a reflector. Join the archive, watch all of the seasons, spend a year and a half just focusing on your physical body. I can't stress this enough. And this is not just for reflectors, but this is everybody. Everyone wants to know their purpose. They want to know what the best relationship for them. And they're looking at human design, but human design is literally pointing at your body and your nervous system. So if you want the ultimate advice, it would be get into your body, descend so much into your body. Like I have more presence in my pinky than most people have in their entire body. And I'm not saying that as a flex. I'm saying that as a pure, like literal, I can take all of my awareness and shove it into my pinky. I can fill my pinky with a lot of blood. And that might seem kind of ridiculous or like, oh, what does that have to do with it? But once you start to learn how to like take your presence and put it in tiny little parts of your body, you'll realize that there's these little caverns, there's these little unused corners of your body that are just like filled with self-sabotaging, anxiety, depression, all of this like problems in your life. They're just unexplored parts of your body. You're afraid to enter that cave. You think there's a bear in there. Have you gone in there? I don't know. There might be a bear in there. That could be dangerous, but it's your body. If it's a bear, you're the bear. Sometimes the bear comes out, ravages, or the dragon comes out, ravages the village. Like you're the dragon. So go explore all of these different areas, get into your body. That's the best advice that I have. Yeah. Can reflectors gain really broad perspective of life and shows perspectives that other types cannot? Again, reflectors can only do as much as their nervous system will allow them to. Big, big jointer. What's up? Um, Dragons, yes. Natalie. Oh, cool. We got some Twitch people in here. I don't usually have many Twitch people. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying the live, do me a favor, like the live, share the live so I can get more more vines to rip off my ceiling. Yeah, share the live, please. That would be really, really helpful. Basically, being in your body equals the pathway to inhabiting the passenger consciousness. Exactly, because once you recognize where your limits are, like I know there's certain parts of my body where it's like once I put my arm this high, like there's a limit. And so the slower I do that, I can feel all along the way where my capacity is and where I'm getting to the point where, okay, now I'm starting to destabilize myself. You guys can even see my rib is starting to reach over to the side. So these physical markers, having a somatic awareness of like, there's my desk, there's all this stuff. It's a familiarity with the world that you can again become so familiar with that you can navigate it with your eyes closed, that you don't need other people's approval, you don't necessarily need other people's permission to live the life that you want to live. And the reason why this is so helpful too, again, is because again, you want human design to tell you all these things about yourself, but human design is just telling you what kind of body that you're in. And so if you can go directly to the body, and instead of going to human design as the form of authority, you go to one of your organs and you use human design to contextualize all of this information, of course, you're like getting rid of the middleman. And as a human design coach, it's like it's quite beautiful in the sense that it's like I'm not afraid of saying that, hey, there's an authority that's greater than human design, which is your body, because that's what human design is showing us. And I think these are the types of systems that are so beautiful because they have immortality, right? Like the one that thinks they're going to live forever. Think of a king that's trying to live forever. That's usually like a bad king. The king that knows he's going to die and looks for a worthy successor, someone that's maybe not his son, that's usually a good king. Like think about the way history has played out. The one that wants to immortalize himself, not a good guy. The one that accepts his mortality, that's the good king or queen, whatever. I think you're not reading the charts. I have some designs to show you related to your stream and content. I'm sure you love them. I do have Discord. I think I'm Coco Bones on Discord, Natalie, but I'll go ahead and add you. I'm curious about what kind of charts you have to show me. Oh wait, are you trying to like, oh whatever. I'm like, are you one of those people that's just like trying to sell me some kind of uh what do you call it? Oh, we can get your followers and counts up. Anyway, I'll add you anyway. There you go. I sent the friend request. What are the gifts of a reflector? Surprise. Surprise is the gift. But everyone is gonna have yeah, trolls is the name, yeah. Uh everyone's going to have different gifts. Like if you look at your personality sun and your design sun, those are going to be some of your greatest gifts in terms of like what you're giving to the world. Your design and personality earth is going to be some of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself. And so when you recognize that, a gift that you're able to give to the world but that you don't receive anything from, it's not really a gift. It's like an inhale without an exhale or an exhale without an inhale. Anyway, Are projectors more vulnerable emotionally than manifestors or generators? Not necessarily, or not inherently. Um, in terms of emotional vulnerability, again, all of this relies on your nervous system, like your ability to process emotion, your ability to survive. That's solar plexus and spleen. Your vulnerability is based off of how quickly your nervous system goes into sympathetic response. So if there's something dangerous in front of you, how quickly do you turn away and run from it? How quickly can you respond to it? And then again, of course, what is the response? And so some things that are like really helpful for getting to harmonize the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest, and the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, is to do this exercise right here. So all you're going to do is you're just going to smell, turn your head, keep your eyes facing forward, swallow, and then blow a cool stream of air as you come back. This is getting your eyes to do what's called lateral motion. Smell the other direction. Keep your eyes on the screen. Swallow. Cool stream of air. Do this 5 times in each direction as I'm continuing talking. Simple. Smell. Swallow. Cool stream of air. And see how much you can turn your head. See how deeply you can smell. See what you smell. See how well you can swallow. I am giving the freeze response and lose the connection with my emotions. Is that normal? It is normal. A lot of people do that. That's the whole point of, like, you can't process your emotions if you're having to safeguard yourself from something. You have to enter into a safe space. But even if you're in like a relaxed zone, but you're not in a safe state, like you don't feel safe enough to process those emotions, like you're afraid someone's going to come in and blast the door down and stop you, or come in and, like, dump all over you. It's like, that is a very real situation that some people find themselves in, and for most people they're exacerbating it with their mind, and it's a way that the mind suppresses the body to maintain a point of authority. It's normal, but it's not natural. Like, what's natural is being able to recognize when a situation is safe and when a situation is not safe. Normal, what we've normalized is, if the mind thinks that this person is unsafe, then it's unsafe. But what's natural is your spleen will let you know, your eyes will let you know. And so, again, in the archive, we train stuff like this to help get you to regulate, so that you can maintain a level of calmness, so that you can assess the situation, so that you're not immediately going into fight or flight. The archive is stating that I'm not subscribed, but my next billowing is until June 26th. Your card might have failed. I've seen a couple cards fail, so that's possible. But just send me an email, White Rabbit. support@reikimarco.com. I'll help you. I do recognize safe people in situations. Right. So again, there's a lot of factors that go into your ability to process your emotions. Also, one thing is that there's probably a good chance that you're thinking that you need to be processing more emotions than you actually have to. Like, processing your emotions is not necessarily something that, like, you have to get done before you can live your life. It's something that you do, and, like, either enhances life or takes away from life. Your perspective on the processing of the emotions is going to determine whether or not it enhances life or it detracts from life. I don't get how to do Reiki. A lot of people don't. What I'm talking about right now is Reiki. Reiki is literally just aligning yourself, the inner Reiki, the energy that's moving through you, with the external Reiki, the Reiki in the world. So again, man watching nature, watching himself in nature, that is where Reiki levels or healing capacity increases. Because the more that man is in harmony with nature and his nature or her nature, that is where the healing happens. Because the healing is something that's built into you. Like, you don't do Reiki. Reiki is something that you allow or you prohibit. The mind tends to prohibit Reiki a lot because the mind wants to have control. The mind wants data. The mind wants patterns. Sometimes healing processes look different for different people. And so the mind wants to say, that's healing, that's not healing. But again, if you look at what the mind actually is good for, is that person has a calm nervous system and they're regulated even when things are challenging. That person has less challenges objectively than that person, but they're more dysregulated. So what's happening? Who's more healed? Neither. They're both healing. They're just at different stages. So how you allow is you build a relationship with your body. So instead of thinking, "Oh, I haven't had any water today. I should drink water." You feel the dryness in your throat, which funny enough, I'm going to pour some more tea because when I talk a lot, but I don't swallow enough and I'm not drinking enough water, very quickly becomes less hydrated. And oh my gosh, my Instagram people, I haven't seen your comments. I'm sorry. I'm coming. I'm coming, my friends. Alex, my questions. Yeah, I know. My bad, my friend. I'm a 5-1 projector, signed up for the archive 2 months ago, but I can't find a way to join. What do I do? Well, first of all, please watch the videos that I send because I let you know what to do in that situation. Just email me. Like, I'm really easy to reach. support@reikimarco.com. Um, have you seen the studies that Berkey filters are akin to pesticides? Yeah, they wanted to say that the silver in the Berkeys were like pesticides, but it's, I don't know. That's dumb. That's also not a Berkey. That's a different one. Um, yeah, Patricia. Sorry, I didn't see your comments. Elites attacking star seeds. Who's descending into our bodies? So we're descending into our bodies. Star seeds and elites to me is a conversation. Like it's more like you're preventing yourself from descending. It's not the elites. Like it's funny because all of the poisons that are out there in terms of like pharmaceuticals and food, like you don't have to get them. You don't have to get synthetic clothes. You can make your own clothes or be naked or get high quality clothes. Um, it's all about the choices that we make as human beings, and those conversations, like I get why they're happening because it's again an opportunity. It's a battlefield for the mind to play out drama and distract us from what really we need to be doing, which is again upgrading our physical bodies. So anyway, sorry my Insta people. I don't drink coffee for a good few days, and today I feel like a little late with the superfoods. Now I feel like zoom zoom jack jack. There we go. There we go. So it's on my motivation or making time is not a technical issue. I wonder how to overcome my resistance. So the way you overcome resistance is you lower the resistance until you have until you can actually summon and make more capacity in yourself. Because here's the thing: it's like if you want to meditate, most people do like I'm going to meditate half an hour a day, and I'm like, how long can you sit still before you start to like twig out? And they're like, oh, immediately. And I was like, so don't make a goal to meditate for half an hour a day unless you have a really defined heart. Make a goal to meditate for 5 minutes. Lower the resistance, lower the expectation so that you can actually build momentum and you can actually build your capacity. Again, everyone wants to be at the end of the journey, but they don't want to actually take the steps on the journey. My thing is just take the steps on the journey, you'll eventually end up at the destination. So with resistance, it's great that there's resistance there. Like imagine if we lived in a world where there was no gravity. We'd have no bone density. There would be no standing up. The opposite of gravity is levity. You have to push up against gravity, but you do that all the time. That at one point for you when you were a baby was resistance. You didn't know how to stand up. You didn't know how to balance yourself. And so resistance isn't the enemy. It's confusing resistance with some kind of signal of like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. This isn't normal. This isn't natural. This is an abnormality. There's something wrong with me. I shouldn't be experiencing resistance. Nah, dude. Resistance is how you increase your capacity. So you're experiencing is you just want to make a quantum leap, and everyone is trying to sell courses on quantum leaps. Fuck the quantum leap. Quantum leaps are a result of little baby steps made. And then occasionally, you step on a great spiritual landmine or you find a great teacher and it's like, seems like, whoa, where did all these blessings come from? Like, dude, you deserve them or you don't. Straight up. All right. Pulling the ball out from my crotch. Doing some things. Yeah, resistance is the answer. Conditioning is the answer. My body will react to Reiki, but my head is hollow or impenetrable. Interesting. Steve, what do you mean by that? How does your body react? And is it a reaction or a response? Reaction is what you do when you touch heat. Ah, it's just automatic. Response is, oh, I'm hurting myself. Take my hand off. Reflex is being able to do, like, having the response and the reaction melted together, which we are all naturally very reflexive if we just connect all the parts. But most people are like trying to focus on one thing or the other thing. Resilience is what you need. Yeah, if you have resistance, what you need is resilience. You don't need to find a way of getting rid of resistance. You have to find a way of building resilience to increase your capacity. And I have a membership for that. I have 5 seasons of pre-recorded videos that you can watch, that if you literally just go through all 5 seasons once, it could take you 2 months to do it if you're actually diligent and do it every day. You will have probably 10 times the amount of resistance and tolerance, emotional regulation, mental regulation, physical somatic awareness. You will have 10 times the amount if you just go through all 5 seasons. And there's about seven to 10 episodes per season. And so it should take you, if you join today, by June, July, August, by the end of summer, you can like just like 10x yourself. And those aren't necessarily metrics that I've like measured, but I watch the people that go through even in their first 28 days or 90 days, and they like 100x themselves. Now the thing is, if you're at negative 999 and you 10x yourself, like you might still be at a negative number. You might be at like negative 500, but that's better than negative 999. But a negative 999, just to give you guys a frame of reference or a point of comparison, this would be the person that's like hates their job but still goes to it, hates where they live but still goes to it, hates their family but still goes to family reunions. They just like really are blaming all of their problems on the circumstances of their life, and they're not acknowledging that they have any choices in the matter. Hey, Marco, just wanted to send you some love for you and your coming newborn to your whole family. Oh, thanks, bro. So cool you're a dad. For me, it just seems so unknown. You have my respect. True with the 10 times the resistance. So true. Jacob, oh, bro. And I tell you, bro, it's so wild because I remember when I was 21 when I discovered, um, no, I was 19. I was 19 when I discovered Reiki, or when Reiki discovered me, I should say, and my whole spiritual journey started. So, and I know you've aged, so I'm always going to see you as a 17-year-old that just like joined and spent his birthday money on my membership, and quickly became like one of my favorite people, just because, dude, I didn't have like all of the coaches, all the people that I was learning from when I was 19, learning Reiki and learning about the body and learning about energetics. Dude, they were all like 40, 50, 60-year-old women. And so I'm thrilled that I can reach some of my brothers, especially in the adolescent years, because again, your 20s, there's so much pressure to like be someone in your 20s. But how do you figure out who you are? You figure out who you're not. That's what teenage years and the 20s are for, is to figure out who you're not. Go to Bali and be like, yeah, I'm not really into the Bali culture. I don't know about this place though. You know, like that's what they're for. It's for exploring. I discovered Reiki at 27 from my old Indian coworker. Such an angel. I love that. I'm 24 and already love your wisdom. Sparks, stick around. I wanted to ask if you have any advice for starting Reiki. Should I take a class? Or so, Laura, the best way to start Reiki is to just start to use your hands, like rub your hands together, pull them apart, breathe into the energy that's circulating in here. If you need to come back, rub the hands. You can even rub the outsides of your forearms. You're looking to just build a sensitivity to what we call subtle energy. So it's just below the surface of like touching your body. You know, it's, can you feel your fingers and the energy and the heat? The heat is the closest thing that we have. Tingling is also there. But to start Reiki, and I would say also, I'm actually gonna film. I have plans to film some Reiki content today that I'm gonna put into my membership, the archive. So if you want to learn Reiki, again, there's a lot of people that will sell you these like courses. They'll teach you things, but you won't necessarily learn much. Does that make sense? Like, one of my goals, one of my ethos is, what I'm doing is, I don't want to be your teacher, but I want you to learn. I've learned a lot from my body, and I want you to adopt your body and the ways that it's connected to the divine. I want you to adopt that as your teacher as well. We have the same teacher. It's our bodies. I'm just someone that's learning just like you. I just tried that and started feeling the warmth and tingling. Great. So Laura, and this is very important, and I'm not saying other Reiki masters and teachers are like scam artists or anything. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they're just doing what they're taught. I can teach you so many techniques to amplify that, but instead it's actually more beneficial, especially for you. Take all of that desire and spend time with that energy. Spend time with that. And I could make more money if I just showed you my techniques. 100%. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to actually inspire people who are can become authorities within the world that have a experience based authority, not a, oh, you paid me, so here's your certificate. So I would say for the next 28 days, Laura, spend minimum 5 to 10 minutes in the morning and in the evening feeling that tingling energy and just feeling where it goes. If it tells you put your hands here, your mind is going to say, oh, but that's not the right way to do it. Override that. That's the resistance. The resistance says, I need permission to do this. Like if you needed permission, you wouldn't feel the tingle. Been looking for someone like you, truly. Laura, I got you. I've been looking for you as well. Like, not everyone wants this. A lot of people just want someone to tell them how it is. I don't want to work with those people, straight up. Someone with love, passion, not money, hungry, you're cool. Thanks. That's how you feel your aura and energy. Yep, exactly. Because again, someone will teach you techniques, but they're teaching you from their own experience. And some people, I'll tell you, some people can't even see auras, but they're selling courses on how to see auras and how to do healing stuff. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of charlatans out there. I wasted my 20s. Don't be like me. Steven, if you had wasted your 20s, if you had actually wasted your 20s, my friend, we wouldn't be connected. You don't waste any of the years with your life unless you get to your deathbed and you've had the awareness that, oh, I want to change, and you don't. Like, you are awakening quite rapidly, my friend, and you need to awaken faster. Alice, what's up? Welcome. Laura, so random, but are you by chance native? I'm Mexican, so at some point everyone was native, I feel like. Um, but I live in Hawaii, and I definitely am very interested in indigenous cultures and the way they would do things. Can projectors read manifestors the same way they can with generators, or the repelling aura hinders? Manifestors can be hard to read just because they have I don't want to say this ego, but there's this energy about them, like sort of their aura is repelling. But also it's like non-sacral beings are kind of hard to read in the sense that a lot of non-sacral beings are not even themselves. If that makes sense. Like in human design, right? This is where all the sexual creative energy is generated. It's in your pelvic floor, it's in your sex organs, it's in your digestion, it's in your thighs and your legs. And so the ability to read someone's sacral energy. Like for instance, there's a lot of people out, especially young men in the spiritual community, that are they're like they think they're hungry for physical intimacy when in actuality they're not. They're doing this sort of like exploration that is not necessarily grounded in a connection with themselves. They're looking for themselves and their partners. I see this a lot with spiritual men, having been one as well. It's because it's very challenging to cultivate on your own as men, and there are a lot of systems in place and in society that are meant to keep us safe, but they actually prevent us from growing and becoming ourselves. Yeah. Oh, you're in Oahu. That's what's up. My sister-in-law is in Oahu, and my grandmother-in-law is in Oahu. Oahu's a cool place. When I'm facing resistance, that does not mean we are broken or something. No, facing resistance is literally, it's like when you see a reptile growing larger, physically growing larger, it encounters the resistance of the old skin that it used to have. And so if you're encountering resistance, it could be one of two things, and this is a spectrum. It's either you're outgrowing your old life, or you're trying to stay small, or you have someone around you that you're not willing to leave. It's really just you're outgrowing your old life. That's it. That's all resistance is. You're getting bigger. Big Island 2. Oh, what's how would the sacrum go out having a chiropractor put it back into place? So I firmly believe that chiropractors um, are helpful, but only if you know what to do with it. Like if you have a chiropractor that just you just go into and he cracks you and he doesn't give you any exercises to like maintain the crack. Like I just saturated my pelvic floor right there. Um, which means to just like inflate the pelvic floor. And one of the things that you can do to help inflate the pelvic floor is if you get a rolled up towel or bunch up a shirt and just take it, put it between your legs, put it like right here, like you're straddling it, wank, and then squeeze it with those parts of your legs. That will help to saturate. That will help to saturate your pelvic floor. Correlating with my graph, top 3 undefined, single definition with the rest. Energy will do all kinds of things below my shoulders, but the brain is trying to comprehend. Not sure if it's response or just reaction. So if you can't tell whether or not you're in response or in reaction, you just have to spend more time there and typically like do your best to slow down at least the physical movements. And so one of the things that you can do, like for instance with Reiki, when you start to sense this sensation, putting it up near your head very slowly, again, just following the trend. It's like you like in a river. If you just like let yourself float down river, what happens? Most people don't let themselves float down river because they don't know what's down river. And so that's where your mind is coming into play. And again, the resistance that your mind is giving you, that's the shell that you're meant to build capacity to break through it. And as long as you're not trying to like obliterate your mind, as long as you're just in this like, oh, I'm looking, seeking more to understand and accept this resistance as opposed to push through it, that's the thing that actually allows you to push through it. Because it's again, most people, why do people get injured in doing sports so much? Because they're constantly trying to push their limits without actually accepting their limits first and learning how to be grateful for those limits. They're just something that you just have to smash. Dude, you quoted one of my new favorite tracks, Heart Nothing More. What is that? That sounds like a good one. I'm gonna Spotify it. I love music. What's one of my greatest, something that I'm relatively private about, that I used to have like shame around being private about it, but I realize I just like, it's just for me. Heart, nothing more. Oh. And you're going on a journey. In a tremendous river. Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm going to have to listen to that later. That album artwork is super cool as well. Whenever I hear the word resistance, I think of the French phrase pièce de résistance. What does that mean? I've heard that so many times, but what does it mean? It's their new album, Carnal. I love it. It's definitely giving some good vibes. I love that's Alan Watts sounded like. Anyway, if you guys are liking, enjoying this live, do me a favor, please. Just if we can get that number high, the higher we get that number, more people are going to join the live. If you can share the live as well, even just clicking the share link button, uh, please do that. That will help the live and the channel out so much. And again, as you can see, I got a lot of stuff that I want to share. So anyway, if you feel like it's worth sharing, hit the share button. Make sure you're following as well. Tap the screen. Also, another tip, don't tap with your thumb because you probably do that too much already. This is your radial line. This is focus. This is ventral. This is right in front of you. This is fight or flight. This is sympathetic nervous system. I want to help you guys get into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the side body and the back body. So if you're holding your phone like this, tapping with your thumb, I'm actually not doing you a service. Instead, hold it with your other hand and tap with your ring finger and your pinky. This is the ulnar. This is parasympathetic. This is more rest and digest. This is sympathetic. That's where fight or flight and all that stuff comes from. So tap with your pinkies and your ring fingers because I don't want you guys to just like crush your thumbs. That's not necessarily the answer. If I answered wrong during sacral calibrations, I love this question already, like saying, I'm sitting when I'm not, does that mean I'm not connected to my sacral truth? Yeah, it means you're kind of like relying on external stimulus a little bit more, or external authorities a little bit too much. Is it all? It also could just mean, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your sacral, but yeah, the connection could be better, right? It's great that there is a response at all. Some people are like really afraid to even make sounds like that. Like they'll just say yes, no, and they won't even realize it. So again, be willing to mess up, because it's usually in the messing up that you learn the most. Someone was asking about defining resistance, which is a great concept. Instead of defining it, I can just give you an experience. So take one hand, put it palm up, take the other hand, put it on top, slide the top hand forward. What you're going to, and squeeze the hands together. What you're going to experience is resistance. It's when you have something that is like preventing something from happening. But literally with this move, you can create a whole workout just from resistance within yourself. And that's actually one of the things that the archive focuses on. Is it focuses on using the resistance that we have inside our body in a way that makes us stronger, not weaker. When can I come visit? Oh, Justin, that's a hard question, because we're about to have a baby and my partner is very private, so I will have to get back on you on that. Like she won't even let, like, immediate family members visit. Like my brother came, and that was really fun. But even that was like a very private affair, which is like, I could see how quickly that could like delude into drama. I just really accept my partner and I love her and I'm willing to protect her, because she shows up in some ways that I didn't believe that women could show up. And there were some things, some ideas of mine that I had to sacrifice about her in terms of how I expect a woman to show up. But the more that I've just accepted her, it's like, oh God, it's so beautiful. Anyway, so eventually, yeah. Curious why she is private from family. Yeah, no worries, no offense taken. She's private from family, even some of her own family members, because family represents some of the strongest conditioning that we have, tribal conditioning. Like, for instance, your grandma has judgments about you that she doesn't share, but she talks to your aunties about it. Your cousins have jokes that they make about you that they never tell to your face, but they make to each other. They bring that into interactions with you, and the more that you learn how to feel when there's those kinds of energies, the less around it you want to be. Like, you can have your jokes, like, it doesn't actually bother me, but if I'm too close, if I go to, and I'm not for going against the families, but establishing yourself as an individual and going back to your family, you get to see how much you've actually established yourself and how much you've just coddled yourself. I feel that in my heart and bones. Yeah. So, and again, it's not like your family is bad. They're just conditioning you. They're trying to prepare you for the world in the ways that they weren't prepared. Rather than, this is where it becomes about accountability. Don't try to prepare someone for something that you failed to prepare yourself for. Look at the impact of what you failed to prepare yourself for and prepare yourself now. Don't try and prepare other people. And this is where my authority comes from. I'm not trying to help you guys out. I'm talking to you about what's helped me and the perspectives, and I'm saving you guys time by telling you that you don't need anything else. I have these lives for a reason, so that someone dirt broke could go from dirt broke, hating themselves, to eventually making enough money to the point where they can join my membership. Then I can help you even more, to going to the point where now you don't need any of my advice, but you appreciate what I do. And that's why you keep your membership, because you're making enough money and the abundance overflows. This is what I'm trying to do, or this is what I am doing. And having a baby is a super delicate experience. Yep. The mom is already exhausted and having mixed feelings. Yep. 100%. Families 100% trigger. Even the families that are like super loving and sweet and like, I want to hold the baby, the mom is usually just going to be like, oh, yeah, you're family, so here's the baby. But if there's something in the mom that's like, nope, I do not want you to hold the baby. It's, how hard is that? I would be so mean of me to say, hey, go against your intuition as a mother and hand the baby over to someone that you don't want to hand the baby over to just because they're my family. This is not cool. As a man, I wish your lady would teach a master class. I would be the first one to sign. She eventually will. She actually has expressed a lot of interest in becoming not a midwife or a doula, because a lot of that is tied to the medical system, but more like a radical birth coach or something. Can you give us some dating advice? Can you ask some more specific questions of how I could help with dating advice? Because dating advice, I mean, that's so general. How can I actually help you? Do you want a partner? Do you want to know why you're attracting the same kind of person? Do you want? I would say an overarching good point of dating advice would be to spend at least 18 months in a state of celibacy, meaning no intimacy with others, no dating. Like if you're gonna go on a date, let them know like, hey, I'm in 18 months of like I'm on like a dating detox. So if we're gonna go out as a date, it's gonna be a friend date. The reason why I say 18 months is because neurologically speaking, it takes 18 months for the brain to rewire what is a relationship. And you can use the last point of contact that you had with your ex as like the 18-month part. I just gave up on loving anyone other than myself, and my fiance popped up out of nowhere. Alex, that's the same thing that happened to me. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna drop my expectations, and I had been single for like a year, but then before that, I was single for like 3 years. I dated a girl for a little bit, but then I realized I'm like, oh, I still want to rewire things. This isn't the person that I wanted to like have children with, and so I stepped away from that for like a year, and then she showed up, and it's so powerful. Great advice already on it. That's so inspiring. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's beautiful. Why are we attracted? I'll ask. So it was not cool. I ended up with 2 years of severe depression that I had to cut them off. Yeah, Al, it's so much better to like, drink water before you're dying of thirst. Cut people off before you're like horrified by hanging out with them or seeing them. Um, just like start to pull your energy away gently. Yeah. And why are we attracted to the same type of person? So typically we are, and I say we as like those of us that are like wanting to be conscious, we are typically against the idea of using people. And that is a kind of messed up thing because we like actually the reality of it, like I use my partner, she takes care of my children, she cooks me food, she keeps a clean house, she uses me, she uses like we use each other. Being clear about how we use each other and how we want to use each other, and the lack of clarity around that is the reason why we typically date the same person over and over again. It's because we're either trying to date someone that's like our dad or like our mom, or the opposite of our dad or our mom. And we're dating them from a point of, does this look right? As opposed to, how does this feel? And so a lot of the times people will be in a relationship for like 18 months. And after 18 months, again, usually is when you get to see whether or not you're with the person that they said they were or whether they're somebody else. Sometimes it takes longer. And some people are really convinced that they're somebody that they're not. And if you're with someone like that, it's not entirely their fault. You are also convinced that you are somebody that you are not. And so it's really, really important, so important to, again, build a relationship with your organs and your sex organs especially. And this is especially for women, and regardless of whether you have definition in your sacral or not. For those that have no definition in their sacral or a lack of definition, for their projectors, manifestors, and reflector ladies, especially, so important to learn how when your cervix and when your yoni is like drying up and closing up. And for the men, I would actually say even more important for the men, because men are taught, oh, if you can get it, get it. The worst advice ever. Because they say, it's like if a woman sleeps with like 20 men, she's a hoe. But what happens if a man sleeps with 20 men? Oh, he's a pimp? No, he's a hoe maker. Ew. Like, that's one of the worst things ever. Like, as a man, especially as a man with a daughter, and I haven't, my body count is not very high, but I knew people whose body counts are very high. And it's not that that makes you less valuable as a person, but you definitely get spread pretty thin at some very important times of your life when you can actually cultivate this energy. Like I was given our homie Jacob, who's I think he's 18 now, in the archive. He's one of our members. Advice on how to more connect deeply with his partner, and I gave them eye gazing exercise. They're teenagers, and I guarantee you, because he has that deep relationship with that one person, whether he might, end up with her or he might move on to other partners, but the depth of connection and the respect that you have for the partner that you're with translates. And one thing, so Alice is asking, would you recommend check people's charts before the date? Nope. I'm in celibacy since 2 years now, and I desire to have the greatest commitment or nothing. Nope. I want to check anyone's chart, but I don't want to look like a psycho crazy cat lady. It's not that you don't want to look like a psycho crazy cat lady. It's like you don't want to train yourself to pick partners and pick friends based off of their charts. If you see someone's chart and you're like, whoa, I'm really interested in that person, that's different. But if you have someone that you're interested in, be interested in them for like a month or two before you look at their chart. It's one of the worst things ever because it's like you might have chemistry in an area that you're like, whoa, I really like this chemistry. And then you see the chart and you're like, but we have chemistry here. So what is that about? And then it just kind of like ruins the experience. Learn to rely on your organs before you start learning to rely on the charts is kind of my my 2 cents. Back on the YouTube, got your TikTok. Oh, Steven, you're the best, my friend. We're at 13K now, guys. Thank you for liking the live. We've got 40 people in here. This is a lot. This is great, Steven. Appreciate you, buddy. Oh my God, been single for 29 years. Dude, I tell you, when you whatever woman you attract after 29 years of just like holding it down for yourself, bro, she's gonna be out, especially with our help again. And it's true. The thing is too is like, 29 years single doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, you have this huge vacuum, because maybe that energy has been dumping in other ways. But the magic of that is that again, you are starting now, and it's just been like a handful of months really that you've started to actually awaken yourself. All of those 29 years was just preparation to show you what can happen when you make a decision. So I'm a projector and I find it hard inspiring myself. I sometimes get inspired by other people's concepts, ends up feeling a bit lost when the wave passes. Yeah, inspiration is another way of saying problems or the pressure to solve a problem. Right. And so if you're inspired by the way other people solve problems and you try and use that as a mechanic to pressurize yourself to think about something or solve other people's problems, I don't necessarily think you're missing the point. But the deeper point is that the head, the mind, all of these mechanisms that can be inspired by other people, it's so that you can acknowledge them, not so that you can copy them. In the acknowledgement, there might be something that just gets integrated or that awakens inside you. But especially as somebody with an undefined head, my chart, all undefined centers, reflector here, being inspired by other people and not letting them know, hey, this is really inspiring. I love the way you do that. Like what being able to be inspired to explore their inspiration, knowing it's their inspiration, juices me up in a way where I don't feel the pressure to compete with them. Because yeah, I've experienced that where I like unintentionally are competing with people. Is celibacy also the meaning of no self-pleasure? So this is where I'm like, it depends on how you self-pleasure, right? Because if you're like using your phone or using your computer to again externalize arousal, no, that's not the answer. If you're self-pleasuring, the only way the celibacy really works is if you self-pleasure and you work from wherever you're at to being able to arouse yourself, not from like visual images or fantasizing about things, but from the actual sensation and the touch, which I feel like for women is a lot easier than men, especially because there's so much sort of like SFW, but like sort of NSFW stuff on like Instagram and social medias and stuff like that. Like the world is very hypersexualized. Entertainment industry is hypersexualized, and this is where it's like you can get part of your power back, similar to letting go of inspiration. Like one of the things, the best healing mechanisms that you can do is just unfollow some of the people that you compare yourself to. Even if they give you good advice, if you find yourself comparing yourself to them, unfollow them. You can always follow them back later. They're probably going to be doing their thing. But if you are like, for instance, a woman and you are comparing yourself to another woman and you're doing her skin routine, etc., but you're comparing yourself to her, unfollow her for a little bit. Same thing with the dude. If you have a dude who's like rich and like following him because I want to learn how to make money, just unfollow them for a little bit. Again, you will find a way to make money. You will find a way to beautify yourself by building a connection with your organs. That will build you the one that's appropriate for you. What were the expectations you had to sacrifice with your partner? Great question. One of them was that she's going to be as sociable as I am. Like I'm very warm. I get a lot of energy from being around people. I'm much more extroverted. I'm introverted, for sure. But when I'm around people, I get a lot of energy, even if they're the wrong people, because I know I'm. For me, it's kind of like, oh, here's a training partner. This dude is super annoying. How long till I actually get annoyed by him? Let's see. She's not like that at all. She's very much so like, ew, this person asked a question about birth that I didn't want them to ask. Well, I'm like, why didn't you just tell them you didn't like that they asked it? And she's like, because I didn't want to have a conversation with them. I'm like, oh, okay, great. And so I have some judgments about the way that she is, but those judgments are literally stemming from this is the way that I would handle that situation, as opposed to accepting, oh, that's the way you handle that situation. So that was one of the biggest ones. She's, and doesn't mean she's like mean to my friends or anything. She's so wonderful to my friends, but she's very just like you have to earn my friendship. And I'm the kind of person that's like, oh, dude, if you're cool, like you don't have to necessarily earn my friendship. You have to earn um, other things, but you don't have to earn my friendship. You don't have to earn how you say my wisdom. Like my wisdom is wildly available. My partner's is not. And so it's good when you have a couple like that. I think we're a super healthy couple. My ex was like that, and I found out he has anti-social personality disorder. Yeah, so and that's the thing is like all these like disorders, in my opinion, they're not really disorders. They're just sort of like sideways manifestations of like an inner child that never got to do the things that it wanted to do. Like as children, they say children are super wise, but why is that? It's because they haven't been conditioned to be what you want them to be yet. I started your class and I love it. Oh, fashion. We are just getting into it. Yeah, and it's not that it's just trauma. It's like trauma that they don't do anything about. Like trauma that you're like, oh, you have social personality disorder, so let's medicate you. Rather than, hey, let's expose you to the thing you're afraid of. It's not about succumbing to your diagnosis. It's literally about using your diagnosis as sort of like a benchmark to see like what is the actual thing here. And my partner now has a threshold for being social, but a lot of it is because of the way that I allowed her to be sort of antisocial and not necessarily protected her from it, but just like I didn't let it prevent me from doing the things. So now it's like she wants to come out because she knows she can rely on me. And there were times too when it was like we would go out and I'd be having a good time, she would start to get tired, I would still be having a good time, and I didn't do a great job of checking in. And me, one of the things I had to sacrifice was that, hey, if you are having trouble or you're getting tired, you need to check in with me so that we can work together and that we don't go home too late, we don't stay at the party too long, and you end up upset because you're burnt out or you have no time to decompress. Which, popular opinion in human design, it takes like an hour after leaving the party and getting home for a projector, manifester, or a reflector to decompress. Projectors, especially, they need that time to decompress to wind down. It's not good for them to just come home and then just slam down. Um, what else do I want to say? I took some responsibility. I said I can be better at checking in, and I did that, and now I'm really good at it. And now because I got better at that, she's better at communicating. Hey, I'm getting a little sleepy. I'm like, oh. So again, relationship, it's not 50-50. It's 100 and 100 or nothing at all. So during a Reiki meditation, I sometimes drop into a trance and start twitching. Yes. So energetically, when your body starts to twitch, or you feel tingles, or you feel those subtle sensations, typically that's like energy moving into areas that it wasn't before or activating it. Now, I'm not saying you want to get to the point where you're fully stabilized, but eventually what happens is if you do this enough, the amount of energy that used to make you twitch no longer makes you twitch. Like a lot of people who like they use burping as a cue of like, oh, I'm clearing energy. I've watched people force burps out of their system as a sort of signaling to other people that they're clearing energy when they're not actually clearing energy. They're not processing anything. They're doing it as like a pony trick. So again, the rewarding of this kind of behavior, in my opinion, the reward is the behavior of itself, or the reward is the integration of the behavior in and of itself. So eventually, that sort of like ticking, twitching Some people would call it stimming. Again, where do you draw the line? Um, Eventually, it's not that that will go away, but you will be able to contain it if you're also developing your physical body. Some people go into full trance and they're just like, "Ah," you know. And I'm not saying that's bad or dumb, but it's like, why are you doing that if your intention is not also to stabilize that with your physical body? Like, can you make the grounding rod or the tree make the roots deeper so that those twitching, you can handle more of that energy without it kind of like pushing your body? Like sometimes when I'm doing sensory design exercises, like there'll be parts of my body that are shaking and shuddering. What do I want to do? I just want to be there for that. Build strength, accept that. Eventually the shaking and the shuddering stops and I actually get some level of command over a part or a strength in an area that was once weak. There's nothing like natural arousal. It's a spiritual experience and it really opens up connections of all things. I highly recommend people work to find the spontaneous pure sexual flow. And pure sexuality is very, very innocent. It's like my partner can be aroused by like the smell of a rose or the smell of a flower. And it's the coolest thing ever. And as a man, being able to see a woman that's in that, and there's a difference between a woman that's like genuinely aroused by it and a woman that wants to present arousal. And it's literally the difference between accepting and loving your face and putting a bunch of makeup on because you think you need to be prettier. Has a lot to do with your ability to sense things and to bring a sensation through your nose all the way down into your pelvic floor. This is where the neck widening comes in. This is where expanding the rib cage comes in and compressing the rib cage. It's all about pressure and heat, wasting your vital energy on random people. Yeah, and it's like again, it's not really a waste if you can figure out where that energy actually wants to go. But there's just so much conditioning around it, so it's really hard. I just consider it powerful energy in most cases. Yeah, the best way to interact with life is through sensation, 100%. Before we had thinking brains, before our prefrontal cortex developed, we interacted with the world through sensations. How does it feel? What does it smell like? What happens when I put it into my mouth? Same thing with babies. That's how they do things. They put it in their mouth because that's the most sensory rich area of the body is right here. That's why we kiss because it's so sensory rich. And the more people that you share that with, the less sensitive you become, or the more hyper demanding, the more expectations you have over what it's supposed to feel like versus what it actually feels like. Happens during childbirth too. Yeah, some women have orgasmic childbirth because they know how to surrender, and they believe in their capacity, like they know that's what they're born to do. It's not that the only thing that they're born to do, but it is literally one of the greatest things that you can do as a woman. And as a man, finding a woman who has the level and capacity to be able to do that or the willingness to be able to go, I don't know, I've never done this before, but I trust in my ability to adapt. That's like one of the hottest things to me. If, even for even not my partner, it's like it's truly a sexy thing when a woman is like, yeah, I'm going to free birth. I'm like, for real, because that's something as a man. I'm like, I don't know what I could even compare that to. It's stressful enough for me to just like hold space for that. But I think that again, genuinely, so much power exists in our belief and the ability to co-regulate each other. Like a woman, I think a woman that has a man who can like trust her to and regulate her up to the point of birth and then knows how to just like step away and like, no, she's definitely got it. That's where I've found a lot of discipline because there's a lot of my mind that wants to be like, are you sure about this? Are you sure about that? But what I've channeled that into is researching and studying and preparing myself for if something does happen, not necessarily taking authority away from her, but checking in with her and reminding her of her power and her authority. Because again, this is what a good coach does. A good coach doesn't just how you say tell you things, right? In my opinion, a really good coach actually gives you the opportunity to become stronger rather than just making you stronger. It actually inspires you or puts you under the right amount of stress, gives you enough breadcrumbs. Like I'm a breadcrumb guy, big breadcrumb guy. And yeah, so shaking and tingling and all that stuff is not a bad thing. Um, what happens eventually again is like you learn to integrate it, and on top of that, when you are experiencing, like we do a lot of sensory design exercises where it's like you're doing things that you don't normally do, and there's some kind of discomfort associated with it. And usually wherever there's discomfort, like there's these like voids of space in the body that you have to learn how to fill up by yourself. That's why chiropractors is like cool, but unless you are doing something to complement the adjustments that your chiropractor is doing, you're always going to be relying on them. Any thoughts or guidance on the TF journey? What's the TF journey? I am unfamiliar with these terms. Thank you guys for all the likes, by the way. We're at 16,000, which is awesome. Halfway to 17,000, which is great. We got 5 shares. We could do better on the shares. But I'm also grateful for 5 shares. The more we share this live out, guys, the more people, of course, the algorithm is going to show us to. Even if you just go down there and hit the copy link, they'll register that and they'll be like, oh, some people are sharing the live. And again, that is all super helpful. Twin flame. Ah, yes. What's my thoughts on the twin flame journey? I agree with Ra when he said the body is the soul's mate. I believe that twin flames are here to show us our capacity, but they're not necessarily what a lot of people fantasize them out to be. And in a way, they are. They're like this romantic fantasy thing. They're not necessarily sustainable. Oftentimes, they're designed as like suns that burn twice as bright and burn up twice as fast. So it's kind of like and they don't always have to be physically intimate either. They can be, how you say, business twin flames. Like if you have a bad falling out with a business, but like I've had a lot of twin flames in terms of business. A handful of romantic ones, but a lot of ones in terms of business, where it's like there's almost this like over investment into them that eventually you realize, wow, I put way too much trust in someone that wasn't capable or willing or desiring to hold me. Like I wanted them to hold me. I wanted them to do something more than they wanted to do it themselves. That's typically the nature of a twin flame relationship, where it's like you guys are really in it for yourselves, and there's not necessarily you're here to show each other your capacity through chemistry, not necessarily your compatibility through compromising and collaboration. And that's just my definition. Can we talk about sensory design with the transits? I love you made in the post with the archive about totally. So transits affect all of us. Pasha, although he doesn't necessarily mentally track the transits as much as I do, when he does classes, we go through seasons, as you know. He is affected by the transits, and he has a sensitivity that he can't necessarily, he can't really explain it, which is awesome, because there's so many people that can explain it, but they don't embody it because they can explain it. Pasha's like the opposite, and he can explain a lot, which is really cool. And so when it comes to everything that's going on in the archive, it's all according to the transits, but it's not from a mental perspective. I bring in that element every transit. If you're in the archive, I post every transit just like a reflection, like a really in-depth, thought out reflection on like how to what to expect energetically, but then also how to ground it into your body, what exercises to do, points of awareness, ways to like really ride the dragon, ride the wave of it. And yeah, it's it's very helpful for the mind to have something to chew on. But ultimately, again, we want your body to learn how to chew. Can you guide us to the throat and heart drill for right now? Okay, let's do it. So one of the drills that I love to do is the heart hug. I'll explain that, and then we're gonna mix it with a throat drill. So the heart hug, real quick. So the exercises are recorded, and one can do them when can. Yes, exactly. Everything in the archive, all of the live classes get recorded, and there's like probably like 60 or 50 videos of sensory design where you could start at number 1, go all the way through, catch up to season 5. You can do live classes along the way. But by the time you get to season 5, your relationship with your body is going to be insane, like so much better. And your posture and everything about you, physically, there will be shifts in your face. You just have to actually like do it. It's like a gym membership. but all the moves are explained. The relation to human design and the systems that they affect are explained. You don't have to master all of them and remember them. That's why there's videos. But anyway, so let's do it. This is a combination of a throat exercise and heart G center exercise, because we're in gate 45, which is a throat gate 45, reaching down towards the heart. So this is kind of the some of the things that we do. And thanks for asking for this, Ogana, because I love doing these kinds of things. So the first two moves, it's a heart hug and a bite. See this right here? That's a bite. This, bite. What we're going to do is we're going to combine the chest, the neck bite here. Take your neck, shove it forward, bite down here. Then you're going to, as you breathe in, push your chest up and drive your chin down. Do this without clenching your teeth. Keep your teeth kind of like if you're biting a credit card. And you're biting as well as, so there's a lot of force vectors here. There's the chest going up. There's the jaw going down. There's the teeth driving down, but then also the bottom teeth driving up. So that's the first part. The second part is a heart hug. Basically what you're gonna do is inhale, expand your ribs, exhale, compress your ribs, and then use your arms, keep your ribs compressed, and instead of your lungs expanding outward, let them expand in and put pressure on your heart. What's really going to happen is your back is going to go and your chest is going to go. See that? So instead of going out laterally, we're going to go out ventral and dorsal, front and back. So now you combine these two together. Chin jots forward, bite down, smell, compress the heart, swallow, cool stream of air. Don't keep the pressure on. Do this for 5 breaths. Smell, swallow, cool stream of air. Keep the pressure. Eyes look up, smell, swallow. Each inhale, each smell, we're building the pressure up without releasing it on the exhale. Smell, swallow. The swallowing is a soothing mechanism. It's also helping us to ground the energy down. Smell, swallow. Use your other hand, explore your neck. Find some soft spots on your neck and fill those spots with blood. If you have to ask me how, ask your body instead. How do we fill the spot up with blood? Oh, there we go. The swallowing and the smelling usually helps to inform. 3, 2, 1, and release. Ooh, it feels tight. Wow. Yep. I'm sweating now. Hold on, I gotta open my back valley door. So if you explored that with me, that's kind of like what the archive is like. But that was actually a pretty advanced move. In that, again, there's a lot of things that I'm like telling you to do, and your body can do it, but your mind is trying to do it for your body. And that's a great example of what happens just in general. The mind is trying to do it for the body. Do I do this and then that, rather than just trusting the body to be able to do it? And some people's bodies can't actually do it. They're just not coordinated. They can't cross their hands. They can't do those things. And it seems really trivial, but anyway, if you did that exercise, let me know how that felt. Internal massage. Yep, exactly. If you enjoyed that exercise, also share the live. Thanks, Emma. Appreciate you. Like the live. Pinkies and ring fingers. And again, that's something that you can always do. And especially if you're like feeling like, oh, I want my heart to be more open. Your heart isn't open, not because you're not in a safe space or with a safe person, but because you're at the top of your inhale. I want to open more. I want to open more. I want to open more. You get to a threshold. Eventually you have to exhale. But now I want to open more. So you go right back into the inhale? No, exhale more. compress, close yourself more, close yourself more, push all the air out of your body, get to the point where you're panicking. Hold your breath in the out breath, get to the point where you're panicking. I'm not there yet. I'm getting close though. Push out more air. Now I'm panicking. Chill, chill. 3, 2, 1. The inhale is naturally bigger. If you want to get higher up, go deeper. If you want to go deeper, you got to go higher up. Ugh. Your body and your muscles. This is one of the most important discoveries that they've made in the last 10 years. It's that your hormones know what to release based off of the response that they have to your muscles being utilized in certain sequences. Like your digestive enzymes used to be trained like this. You're hunting, and you got your spear, and you see something, and you throw your spear, and you hear the body drop. You physically hear it. That physical hearing, there's a release of all kinds of chemicals that say, we're going to eat soon. My family's going to eat soon. They're not going to starve. Me and my wife can maybe make love, right? Because we're going to have a party because we got this big animal. It used to be so sensory. And now we're listening to Katy Perry over there in Costco, like shopping. And it's not that that's a bad thing. It's just that if you lose touch with the mechanics and the connection with the muscles, you lose touch with your body. Even if you have nutritious food, your body is not able to absorb it because you're not developing, your mechanics are not activating the right enzymes or the right hormones in your body to be able to extract nutrition from the food. And not to say that the food isn't worthless anymore. A lot of the food is worthless, over processed. There's still something in there. You can still get something out of it. Oh my God, is this a house? Yes, my friend, it is a house bus. A home bus. They call it, in Hawaiian, they call it like the home, they call it the hale. It's the bus. The bus is the hale. Have you made a video breakdown on this? It's gold info. So honestly, I've been looking for someone that wants to clip up all my stuff. Because like I literally just explained it. I'm not going to go back, and I have a clipping software that I use, but I don't have the energy to do it. I want someone that can like clip this stuff up for me and post it on YouTube. Eventually I'll find someone. But yeah, for now it's in the archive. We talk about it a lot. It's in the classes. I do make TikToks as much as I can talking about it, but honestly it's like, again, I'm not out here like planning things. I'm just out here living, building tolerance and nervous system capacity. Yeah, that's really again one of the primary goals is just to build the foundation. Build the foundation really good. Everyone wants to put like a nice roof on the thing, and it's like, dude, you haven't even built your foundation out. Why are you designing the roof? Or more so, like they want to decorate the walls and put this, altar up here. It's like one of the first things that you do when you build a temple is you create the foundation. And so build a better foundation. And for us human beings, the foundation is your nervous system. The foundation is your ability to feel safe in situations that are safe and to be in a state of alertness when clearly the situation is not safe, even though someone might say it's safe. It's the ability to properly bring information into your system, process it with pressure and heat, which is literally like that exercise made me so, I just started sweating, my head was sweating, and now I'm calm again. Or if you want to be calm, buy Sparkles or Sparks Charlotte. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, by the way, if you want to tune back in, 9 a.m. Hawaii time. Please come back. And please come check out the archive. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If you can't afford it, that's okay. It's only 37 bucks a month or 333. If you bill it annually, it's like 27 bucks a month. Very, very affordable. It's like half the price of a lot of the gyms out here on Maui, and you don't really need any equipment. I mean, there's some equipment that you can use, but you can literally like use a belt for some of the exercises. Use like a shirt that's been rolled up or duct tape a rolled up shirt. These are also super cheap, for like $8. But we're like the Robin Hoods of the me and my partner Pasha, who I run the archive with. We are like the Robin Hoods of spirituality and fitness. You know, there's so many people making a lot of money in the fitness industry that are just fucking people up. A lot of people making a lot of money in the spiritual industry and they're fucking people up. And that's, you know, I respect the hustle, but I would be going against my own motivation if I didn't say I'd feel guilty for not putting out the alternatives that we have, which is sensory design. It's archive. It's membership, small membership. The value is insane. And we are just like just getting started. And we're continuously adding more and more and more to it. And we just want everyone to have good nervous systems so that you can actually like feel safe using your strategy and authority. Because again, a lot of this comes back to human design. That's one of the things that connected me and my partner Pasha was our love for human design. Um, he was raised by a reflector, and I'm a reflector. My brother and dad are manifesting generators. He's a manifesting generator. And so there was a lot of beautiful connections. Like I never had a relationship with a manifesting generator like I had with Pasha, and it made my relationship with my brother and my dad so much better. Yes, you are. Love your truthfulness so much, and the value it gives so many within the archive family. Well of creation. Cheers, cheers to you, my friend. I have an intention to sit down after this live and make some Reiki content, by the way, which you inspired. So thank you for that. I can't say that I can't guarantee that that's actually going to happen because I do have a 2-year-old that just loves to like bust in here right at 11. So, but I am intending to make some time for that today. And I've noticed that some more people coming into the live asking about Reiki and how it, and it's also such a complementary practice to sensory design. Um, sort of is its own thing, but I'm going to make it into something that it hasn't been in a long time, which is like the original Reiki practices, like Usui Sensei and all that stuff. They're very far, not that they're very far apart, but they're different than what you would get in a course today. And so I'm going to do my best to bring um, some of the traditional stuff that I learned in my Western education, but then also some of like the OG stuff, and then also blend that with sensory design. And because there's a lot of things that like in my Reiki course, you know, I didn't really learn uh, how to actually breathe. And it's funny because it's like how to breathe. How do you breathe? Inhale, expand your lungs, exhale, deflate the lungs. That is such a surface level explanation and technique of breathing versus if you're smelling, swallowing, and then maintaining that pressure and deflating your lungs without deflating your posture. That's deeper, but there's layers beyond that as well. I believe that I'm not fully aware of, but there's layers beyond that, and so it's just really exciting to like for someone that's practiced the fundamentals so many freaking times over and over and over again to the point where like I'm out of my mind bored. Like that's why I have such a peaceful aura, is because I've literally spent so many hours in meditation just being like, I don't know if this is working, overcoming that resistance, and then have been paid a very many thousands of dollars to like do that for other people. I did a Kundalini yoga session today and it felt so Reiki archive alchemy, at least for me. Totally, yeah, because it's again, right? Like we're working on like the fundamental layers of human life. Kundalini is a great, how you say, awakening, but again, it's like a sliver. And one thing I'm like not a huge fan of with Kundalini, and I want to be doing this more in the archive, but we did a little bit in season 3, was a lot of the times Kundalini, you know, you're doing a lot of these movements and a lot of these breath works, and they're not necessarily associated with like dynamic functions, like breath of fire, for instance, the bellows breath, you know, like these like if you do that while you're sprinting, that has a different effect than sitting down. And not that sitting down is bad, but again, it's like the appropriate for movement for that breath before people sat down and started doing that kind of stuff, especially here in the West, because West we tend to bastardize things so much so that people can get it, and we're trying to do our best not to do that to a degree. But it's like all the things that you do in Kundalini, if you like watch the mechanics of even just like walking and running, like they're all there. And so when you learn more of these fundamental mechanics in sensory design, learning more about the nervous system, learning about the smelling, learning about the swallowing, and you start incorporating that into your Kundalini, into your yoga, into your Pilates, it just takes everything to the next level, which is why I'm so stoked on it. And we're like halfway through the first year, and I'm like so stoked with where we're at. Like it was hard for me to visualize even being here, and now where we are is just like wild. And there's a mutation coming, I feel, as well. 18 months, as you guys know, is the amount of time that it takes for the mind to kind of like wrap itself around something, create the sort of neural pathways to access things. And you know, that's going to be this time next year. So this time next year will be the first sort of 18-month cycle that the archive will go through. And I'm like, it's almost intimidating, like where it's going to be there. Love you, Stephen. I'm so glad you brought up that Robin Hood hooding up. I left my mentors after paying many dollars because I noticed them trying to pull me into a cult, and they didn't actually teach people with pure motivation. I was so saddened by that, dude. Outgrowing your teachers is one of the saddest things ever, but it's also like such a wonderful thing because once you actually learn how to like grieve the process of like losing a teacher, then you actually get to find teachers that you can spend your entire life with, and you never have to do that. Oh, Ogana, you've been one of the brightest lights in the past couple months to join the like archive. I will say that, and probably because you're carrying a life, but also again, it's like we're not looking for everybody. We're looking for a select group of people that want to learn, but they don't want to be taught by another human being. Because I have a different design than you. I have a different design than everybody else. Majority of the people have a super far different design. But the reflections that I can give most of the time are, well, how does it feel for you? What organ do you feel that in? What part of you is soft that needs to actually be hard? What part of you is hard that wants to be soft? And in doing this, not only am I like absolving myself of any kind of external authority, for the most part, I am still creating external authority. But what I'm doing is I'm not pedestaling myself as though I have all the answers. I'm not assuming that I have the answers for you. I'm genuinely asking like, what does your body have to say about it? And after doing that for so long, I've discovered there are certain things that are like clockwork. That are literally like clockwork, like this 18-month thing. And then I read a study about science that says like, oh, you know, psychologists say that if you are having PTS symptoms from something that is over 18 months ago, that you should actually have it worked on. And I'm like, oh, so there's like, you know, it just gets ratified from multiple different angles. And that's a similar thing that Ra did when the voice gave Ra human design. It said science will prove this later, but if you don't get it through this gestation, then you know it's just not going to exist. And so get it through the gestation. You guys like that? This is the Wubin G5. I love little gear like this. I don't know why I just grabbed it right now. I like the light. By the way, if anyone is curious why my lives and a lot of my videos have always been green, because sometimes I used to make them different colors based off what I was feeling. But if you look at the cycle that we're in, if you look at the Rave Mandala, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. If you look at the Rave Mandala, it talks about these quarters, and we are in what's called the quarter of mutation, which is green. And so that's why it's green, because this is the quarter that we're in. Where do they show it in here? Here it is. We are right here. So we're almost halfway through this quarter. We're about probably like maybe a week and a half away from gate 15, which is the gate of extremes. We're going from vision to the extremes. So, from how long ago did we start this quarter? Let me see. May 19th. Is that when we started this quarter? No, maybe a little sooner. Started it when we went into gate 2. Where's gate 2? Okay, like the beginning of May. From the beginning of May to a couple weeks from now, we're going from this place of like vision and being a director to now the extremes of that. And then we're on our way towards sort of like a stabilizing force, which is army, which is like knowing what to trust based on how you handled it, or knowing who to trust based off how they handled it, or knowing who to distrust based off how they handled it. Yo, I was just reading about the quarters today. Yeah, the quarters are sick. The quarters are really cool because again, it's like there's all these like little microcosmic things, right? Like the connection between the eyes and the muscles on the back of the neck. That's reflected in the feet. That's reflected in like the tips of the fingers and the hands. All these different like little X patterns. Like you guys think season 5 is crazy right now? Wait till we start doing these. I'm not even that good at them. X patterns with the fingers, rotating of the fingers, trying to get this finger to go like this. Like who's doing that? I don't know. I'm really trying to understand mutation better. Yeah, so this we're in like the stabilizing force of it. Civilization is where we start to build some more of the, or we start to tear down some of the infrastructures. Because prior to that is initiation. It goes initiation, civilization, duality, and then mutation. And so, understanding mutation, you have to you also have to understand the vetting process that mutation goes through, which is like for a lot of people, human design is one of the first things that they qualify as a mutation. Oh, I used to do this, and now I'm going to do things this way. I'm going to wait for an invitation. I'm going to wait for a sacral response. I'm going to go to this, the archive instead of the gym now. Um, these mutations don't show their fruit until they're pollinated and until they reach maturity. And the maturity, the timeline, the thing about mutation is that often people want to know, is this the right mutation before you even taste the fruit? And it's like, there's, so when you're in the point of civilization right now, it's like the thing has been planted, the seed has been planted. That's the initiation. Now it's in the time of like taking care of that seed, and then it's in the duality phase where we really start to see a little bit more of like, is this mutation really relevant? So we're still early in understanding the mutation is what I'm saying. Wait until duality, wait until we start to go more into the fall and the winter months, because that's when we naturally are a little bit more introspective and perspective. For now, like, enjoy the youth of it. And even in the extremes, it's like, enjoy the extreme state of bliss that you're in, or the extreme state of discomfort that you're in. And I don't mean enjoy it like derive joy from it. I mean enjoy it like just be present for it. Because you can recognize, especially if you've been in the archive for a while, that there's a certain level of discomfort and resistance that has to be met. Otherwise, nothing is happening. But yeah, so don't try to understand mutation better yet. Just like enjoy the mutation for now. Derive some presence from it, discover where there's still resistance, and then when we go into fall, though, that's a better time to start like looking at the previous mutation in the previous year. Again, this is just kind of how nature does it, and we are beings of nature. We're animals, and so. And with that being said, I'm pretty pow with this live. I felt the cue like 5-10 minutes ago, but there was a nice little freaking character arc here, wasn't there? There's a good little bump. We got to 20,000 likes, which is amazing. We got 27 shares, which is also amazing. I think at one point there was probably like 50, 60 people in here. But you guys are awesome. Whoever's still liking the live, thank you so much. That means a lot. that means a lot. Like I'm not good at, or I'm getting better. I'm getting better at asking people to engage in the community because literally without y'all, these lives would not be as fun as they are. So just thank you so much for that. I go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So if you can come tune in, come tune in. If you want more access to me and my teachings, come check out the archive. We bridge the gap between human design and workouts and fitness. We're basically showing you ways to physically activate your human design and your body graph to help you get out of your head a little bit more and more into the body, because spirituality, new age, is very devoid of physicality and physical practices. A lot of people are trying to leave their body with spirituality when literally the most spiritual thing that we can do is make a home for the spirit inside the physical body. And so with that being said, I also do one-on-ones. I do private sessions. I do relationship readings, business readings, etc. Though my main focus is in the archive, and this also serves as sort of like my office hours. So if you are in the archive and you can just come in here and ask questions. I can see your body graph. You can get micro readings because again, this is not the external authority. Human design points to the body. So we're exploring how to set that up in a way that creates an ecosystem that creates abundance for everybody. And what else do I have to say? If you want an app to hold your body graph and hold your friends' body graphs and do composites and run analysis, Neutrino Design is the app that I recommend. You can get it for 25% off via the link in my bio. It's the best app out there in terms of human design. The absolute best. What else is there? I have books on my Amazon book list, and I think that's it. Main thing is if anything touched you in this live, like come check out the archive, because the archive is literally where that touch point can turn into a full transformation. And if you click the access the archive button, you can see some of the before and afters of like 90 days or 28 days. They're absolutely wild. Like they'll actually blow you away. Like these people were beautiful before, but it's like the depth and the sweetness and the calmness in their eyes, like the people were beautiful before, and now their bodies reflect the beauty, have the ability to reflect even more of the beauty that's within. So with that being said, love you guys so much. I'll see you on Friday, and I'm gonna go film some Ray stuff. Okay, bye. Joy, love you. Whoever else is in the archive here still, Ogana, love you. I love everyone else too, but I especially love my archive people because y'all are literally feeding my family. It's it's the coolest thing. It's scary for me too to rely on that kind of that, but also I know you guys are getting supreme value out of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be in here. So love you guys. Um, yeah, I'm debating on whether or not to do a community call before or after my baby is born. It's kind of been a while, and I love the first one that we did. I just know it's in my mind and on my heart, and I'll probably put a poll out pretty soon to pulse on that. But anyway, love you guys. See you later.